As night falls over the city, FBI agent Ella Fox walks home along a deserted street after work when she hears noise from the end of the street. She pauses in a dark corner to observe. Police officer Tom Reed is patrolling the area. Ella notices Tom's improper behavior as he approaches the local residents. His disrespectful and careless attitude greatly frustrates her. Ella records every action of Tom, from how he stops to check pedestrians to his pause in a dark alley. Suddenly, a horrifying scene unfolds as Tom assaults a black boy solely because of his skin color, not due to any wrongdoing. This incident sparks a thought in Ella that there may be more corrupt elements like Tom in the police department. She decides to quietly investigate this matter to expose the unworthy police system. This is when Ella begins her battle not only for justice, but also to fundamentally change a system riddled with wrongdoing. After recording the scene where Tom Reed assaults the boy, Ella continues to observe from the shadows, feeling a deep sense of helplessness, but determined not to back down. Overwhelmed by the boy's cries echoing in the night and knowing no one else would intervene, she realizes this isn't just an isolated incident, but a symptom of a deeper systemic issue. That night in her apartment, Ella reviews the footage she captured and decides to use it as part of a larger campaign to expose the truth and demand justice for those oppressed by the police system. She begins to meticulously plan her investigation, aiming to expose not only Tom Reed, but also the corrupt network supporting him. After witnessing Tom's violent behavior, Ella returns to her small apartment. She pulls out a map, hangs it on the wall, and begins to meticulously plan her investigation. Over the following days, she tracks Tom's movements, marking locations of similar incidents with red pins. The desk lamp casts a focused light on Ella's tense yet determined face as she contemplates her next steps. Early in her surveillance of Tom, she discovers his involvement in accepting bribes from traffic violators, along with several other police officers. This corruption deeply infuriates Ella, prompting her to focus on two main objectives in her plan. First, she will secretly monitor Tom using hidden cameras and recording devices to capture every interaction he has with the public. Every detail is crucial, from his tone of voice and gestures to how he handles situations, all of which could serve as undeniable evidence of his misconduct. Second, realizing she cannot fight this battle alone, Ella begins to reach out to trusted colleagues within and outside the police department. She seeks out those who have expressed dissatisfaction with the system or who might have witnessed wrongdoings, but are too frightened to speak up. She meets with them in secret, exchanging information and building a reliable network to collaborate effectively. With a clear plan and specific goals, Ella starts her investigation, determined yet cautious to remain undetected. She knows she is not only fighting for justice, but also striving to change a system long founded on injustice. During her investigation, Ella faces significant legal challenges concerning the unauthorized collection of information. She uses surveillance equipment to gather evidence of Tom Reed's misconduct, which could potentially be seen as a privacy violation under the law. Collecting evidence without a court order might render it inadmissible in some cases and could even subject Ella to legal charges. She must balance the need to gather necessary information to charge the offenders while ensuring she adheres to legal regulations to avoid weakening her case. Approaching witnesses who have information about Tom, Ella encounters their reluctance and fear for their personal and family safety. To persuade them to cooperate, she spends significant time building trustworthy relationships, clearly explaining the importance of sharing information and ensuring that all safety measures will be in place to protect them. She works to alleviate their concerns by providing continuous support and protection, reaffirming her commitment to fairness and anti-corruption efforts. Meanwhile, Ella faces various high-risk situations and must strive to keep her investigation secret. She utilizes her maximum surveillance and investigative skills to avoid any signs of unusual activity in front of her colleagues. This is particularly challenging during meetings where she has to provide information, without revealing that she is investigating some individuals within her own agency. Protecting her allies also requires Ella to communicate and coordinate with them discreetly, sometimes through encrypted calls or meetings in unexpected places to exchange information securely. Any lapse in security could expose information, endangering the lives of her allies and potentially collapsing the entire support network she has laboriously built. Ella continuously assesses risks and devises contingency plans for any possible scenarios. During her investigation, Ella faced numerous challenges, both psychological and physical. She learned to identify and respond to security threats while improving her surveillance skills to maintain her anonymity. In one significant instance, Ella spotted a suspicious vehicle in an area frequently used by suspects. Using advanced tracking equipment, she uncovered an illegal transaction. This moment not only demonstrated her skills, but also strengthened the trust and cooperation between her and her allies within the network, showing that close collaboration can lead to tangible and effective results in the fight against corruption. Ella skillfully used various surveillance devices to gather evidence of corruption activities by Tom Reed and his accomplices. However, during an adjustment of a listening device at a secret location, a rookie colleague unexpectedly caught her. This colleague, already suspicious of Ella's unusual behavior, promptly reported her to Lieutenant Luke Gray, who, shockingly, was protecting Tom's discriminatory and corrupt practices within the police department. Lieutenant Gray, realizing the threat posed by Ella's investigation, acted swiftly to protect himself and his allies. As the police captain, he used the accusation of violating police privacy policies to suspend Ella from duty. This move was aimed at completely stopping her from delving deeper into the investigation and protecting the corrupt network he had built with Tom. By doing so, Gray ensured that the evidence Ella had gathered could not be exposed, maintaining both their positions and power within the system. After being suspended by Lieutenant Luke Gray, Ella did not surrender to the pressure and challenges. Instead, she leveraged her intelligence and network to plan a robust media campaign. She secretly contacted several leading journalists from reputable newspapers, arranging private meetings at secure locations. There, she handed them carefully copied documents, ensuring each journalist had a part of the story to investigate and report. The journalists, recognizing the seriousness and potential impact of the story, committed to reporting it accurately and comprehensively. The result was a series of investigative articles published across multiple media platforms, creating a wave of public outrage and putting significant pressure on the judicial system. This event not only helped Ella restore her honor and status, but also spurred the legal proceedings against Tom Reed and Lieutenant Luke Gray, paving the way for substantial reforms in the police department. When the damning evidence against Tom Reed and Lieutenant Luke Gray was made public, it accelerated the legal process. A trial was held at the local criminal court, overseen by a judge in a courtroom packed with observers and media. Ella, with the support of her attorney, presented the evidence confidently, exposing the corruption hidden within the walls of power. The judge listened attentively, took meticulous notes, and after several days of intense arguments, delivered a stern verdict. This verdict not only closed Ella's struggle with a fair victory, but also reaffirmed faith in justice and the legal system. After all of Ella's efforts, the malpractices were brought to light. It was not just about corruption, abuse of power, harassment, and racism within a rotten faction of the police, but also showcased her fierce and determined fight for righteousness and justice. Despite facing significant and dangerous obstacles, as long as there is righteousness in each individual, there is always a chance to prevail. Without such righteous individuals, you can imagine what society would become. Napoleon Bonaparte once said, "The world suffers a lot, not because of the violence of bad people, but because of the silence of good people." In each of us, there is inherent good. But when we choose to remain silent in the face of evil, we contribute to injustice and lay the groundwork for wrongdoing. Only when each of us bravely stands up for what is right can we together build a better world. So let's join hands in this effort.